Hi everyone. Today I'm talking about a problem that pertains to INFJ men. Now, I am a writing coach and also a coach for INFJ and INFP personality types, so I have a lot of clients who are INFJs, and a good deal of those clients are INFJ men. This question usually always comes up for INFJ men, and it's funny because every INFJ man that asks me this question, that brings up this issue, they say, I feel really weird talking about this. I feel kind of awkward talking about it. I think I'm the only person that has ever had to deal with this, and I don't even know if there's an answer. But I tend to really not only feel invisible, but it seems like other people think I'm invisible too. And this is a problem I've dealt with my entire life. And then they go on to give me a lot of examples, like when I go to parties, people will come up to, me and my partner and talk to my partner, but not talk to me. Or I'll be at a party and someone will actually back up into me or run into me, like they didn't even see me standing there. When I'm in a work meeting, I will try to say something and I'll be interrupted, or someone will ride over me, steamroll me. Or people will act like I don't even have my hand up. It's really weird. It's like I'm ignored, like I'm this invisible entity in the room. I also feel ignored in relationships. I hear that a lot, where I'm telling my partner, or I'm even telling my friend or my coworker what I need or what's going on, and then later it's like they have total amnesia. It's like I never expressed a need, I never expressed a boundary, we never had the conversation. All of this adds up to make the INFJ man feel really invisible, and it can be very confusing when it's happening because usually the INFJ man is trying to speak up and is trying to say, hey, I need this, or I think this, or I have an opinion. And the people around him, they're acting like he's not even there. Or like I said, maybe he's just standing somewhere, like in public or at a party, and people are actually running into him, like he's not even there. So this actually is very common for INFJ men. So if you're an INFJ man and you're like, oh my God, I'm not the only one, she's talking about my life story. No, you're not the only one. This is a really common thing for INFJ men. And I found that it's because most INFJ men grew up in situations where it was safer to stay invisible. They grew up in households that were either very chaotic, or maybe a parent had a substance abuse addiction or alcohol addiction or mental health issues. The parent was very unpredictable and could have wild mood swings or even become violent. And so usually the INFJ man learned how to stay invisible at a very early age because that was the safest thing to do. I say that they subconsciously turned on the invisibility cloak. If you've ever read the Harry Potter books or seen the Harry Potter movies, you know that Harry Potter has an invisibility cloak and he can kind of duck into it when need be. No one around him can see him. So that's sort of what INFJ men learn to do at an early age. They learn how to duck into this invisibility cloak. They do this by suppressing their natural personality by many different things. So not talking very much or not talking at all, not asking questions, just going with the program, adopting withdrawn body language, right? Sort of hunching into themselves, making themselves smaller, making themselves physically unnoticeable, not making waves in any situation. So not challenging the parent, not confronting the parent or any of the other members of the household, maybe staying in their room a lot, not being seen, withdrawing in that way. And there's a lot of different things you can do to turn on this invisibility cloak. Now, women do this too, especially INFP and INFJ women. This is a thing for intuitive introverts. We all do this to a certain degree. However, the way masculinity is viewed in our culture, INFJ men tend to suffer from it more because it's more approved of for women to keep themselves invisible, for women to keep themselves small, keep themselves non-confrontational, blend into the background, be very submissive. These are traits that are approved of in women and really rewarded. So a woman who is doing the invisibility cloak thing, they're not struggling with it as much as an INFJ man is, who is really saying, I don't understand what's going on here or what's happening or why this is the way it is. Again, this is because of the way masculinity is viewed in our culture. We all know masculinity, in Western culture, it's supposed to be aggressive, outgoing, take charge, commanding, right? That's masculinity or the ideal of masculinity as it's seen in our society. So INFJ men with the invisibility cloak turned on, they're working their energy in the opposite way. They're working their energy in a very non-aggressive way, in a non-challenging way, in a non-outgoing way. So they're even more ignored than INFJ women, because not only do they have the invisibility cloak on, but they're working their energy in a way that they're not supposed to be, that's not approved of by society. So they tend to be even more ignored. The solution to this, because every time I lay all this out to an INFJ male client, they're like, okay, that's totally it. Like I feel that. I feel the invisibility cloak. So what do I do? How do I turn it off now? Or at least know when I want to turn it back on and when I want to turn it off. How do I get some control over this? The best way to do this is to start working with the space around you. Actually, like the physical space and your energy field. You want to expand the space around you. You want to push the boundaries of your space outwards. You want to take up more of it. You want to take up more space. You take up more space by doing certain things like initiating conversations. Now, this doesn't mean you have to initiate conversations with people you don't like or total strangers, but initiating more conversations with people that you actually do like, or people that you know somewhat well, maybe in your office, or maybe in a friend group, maybe even at a party. Asking questions. Asking questions is a really great way to take up space. And it's a really great way to be outgoing and to be dynamic without being overly aggressive or dominating, right? You can ask questions in a very courteous way, in a very empathetic way, in a very compassionate way. You can be genuinely curious about other people and still be taking up more space just by asking the question, right? Because you are directing the conversation. When you are asking questions, you are directing the flow of the conversation and you're inviting people to look at you. Both of those things are you taking up space with your energy. You can also take up more space by becoming aware of your body, filling your body, fully embodying your energy. Now, for most INFJs, men or women, this is tough because we tend to live in our head. So a lot of our energy is always swirling around up in the mental space. And a lot of INFJs will tell me, I forget I even have a body. I forget I need to eat. I'm just sort of dragging my body around with me. I'm a big head. I'm a big brain. INFJ men really suffer from this because men in our culture, anyone who's embodying masculine energy is really pushed to primarily work from the mental space and to turn away from the emotions. So a lot of INFJ men are really up in their heads. They're really overthinkers. They're constantly thinking, like I said, they're overthinking, right? So what we want to do is we want to bring that energy down from the head into the body. So you can do this by sitting, doing some deep breathing, and as you inhale, consciously drawing your energy down into the body, down into your chest, your belly, your legs, wiggling your toes, wiggling your fingers, right? Those mindfulness exercises of being in your body. What can I feel? What can I see? What can I hear right now? That's you filling your body. That's you fully embodying your energy. That will really help. One of the last things you can do, especially important for INFJs who tend to struggle with boundaries, is being aware of your physical boundaries and not letting yours be violated. So that example I gave of, the person who's at the party, someone backs up into them, someone runs into them. And INFJ usually, we're standing there minding our own business. Somebody backs up into us or runs into us, we will immediately apologize. We didn't do anything wrong. We were already standing there. That person wasn't watching where they were going, or that person was moving too quickly, it was being impatient. But we will immediately apologize for just existing. Like, I'm so sorry, I was in your way. So you want to become really aware of when you're doing that sort of thing. When someone runs into you, maybe in the grocery store, maybe on the subway, when you're out in public, someone runs into you and you back up and say you're sorry. You want to practice instead with not apologizing and also holding your space. Now, again, that doesn't mean you need to do this in an aggressive way. You don't need to say like, hey, buddy, and shove them. That's being overly aggressive. We don't want to do that. But we don't need to apologize for taking up space. We were taking up space where no one was. Someone came into our space. We don't need to apologize for that. We want to be aware of the physical boundaries and not let ours be violated. So we don't want to let people run into us. I know it's all sounds easy as I'm saying it, but if you're an INFJ and you've been trying to do those things, you might say that's a lot more difficult than it sounds. And I know that too. As always, I want to remind everyone, these are ongoing practices. This is not going to happen overnight. This is something you work with day by day. If this video resonated with you, if you are an INFJ and you have really struggled with the invisibility cloak, please make sure you subscribe to my channel. I do a lot of content for INFJs, INFJ creatives, INFJ writers, INFJ intuitives. I also do a lot of content for INFPs. Anyone who's highly sensitive, considers themselves an empath, and also really is drawn to the creative life. I do a lot of content that has so much information that can help you. Please also subscribe to my newsletter. You get a free gift for highly sensitive writers. Really helps highly sensitive writers put themselves out there in the world, start getting their message out to the people who need it the most. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. I will see you all next time.